Do the Celtics need to make some changes to their philosophy, their roster, or both? And does Jaylen Brown have a point about flopping, or is he just upset about the loss to the 76ers, man? We'll say the people's champ.
Boston, I think it's time to switch it up.
Yeah.
I think it's time to switch it up. I mean, they were able to squeeze a championship out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think they still have a lot of nice pieces that know how to win, but I do think they have to go through an offensive philosophy makeover.
Mm-hmm.
They just have to abandon this. Like it's to me, it's run out. So, in terms of, the flopping and this, that, and the third, hey, bro, when you blow a 3-1 lead, I don't want to hear anything. Like you can't.
It's the messenger, right?
Yeah,
at this point.
Yeah, I mean,
even if he got a point, it's bad timing.
Like, color me obvious, but you can't be the guy.
Yeah,
that parrots that. So I mean, that's tough, and especially when down the stretch, you couldn't make a shot.
Yep. So, man, there's a scene in Casino, man. It illustrates this gambler named Ichikawa, man, that played Baccarat. You remember that scene?
Mm-hmm.
Big money player. He wins large sums of money gambling at the Tangiers, right? And he tries to leave. And, of course, Ace Rothstein, he lures him back under false pretenses.
Right.
Sets him up so that he can play. And he says something interesting, right? He says that Ichikawa is used to playing for $30,000 a hand. But when they brought him back, he was only playing for $10,000 a hand. He said, but when he won, he didn't view it as winning $10,000. He said he saw it as losing $20,000 because he's used to playing for $30,000 a hand. Joe Mazzulla is Ichikawa, and he plays for $30,000 a hand.
Right.
They shoot 3-pointers in volume, and it's feast or famine. And he would see volume 2-point shooting like Ichikawa sees playing for $10,000 a hand. And so the Celtics are in a conundrum. They have, and we kind of joked about it, but it's poignant. They got a Glenn Rivers situation because he won a championship with it. So it's going to be very hard to convince him that it's not a successful strategy. That's on the one hand. On the other hand, now people saying he's the dark horse to win Coach of the Year. Like they saying he gonna edge out JB Bickerstaff for Coach of the Year. So I'm like, that's interesting. So he could be the Coach of the Year, and possibly, they might be talking about whether or not it's prudent to keep him in the fold. And I agree with you. I'm like, philosophically, because, what he believes is that the analytics support this volume 3-point shooting.
Nah, bro.
It could get you knocked out in the first round by a 7 seed. And remember, in 2023, they lost to an 8 seed in the conference finals.
Right. They
lost to Miami. Again, and when Nephew asked us at the 64 game mark, because I reposted that clip on our Facebook page, when Nephew asked us at the 64 game mark how confident I was that we could beat Boston. The thing I said is that shooting 53s a game doesn't work in the playoffs. I'm like, it traditionally doesn't. Can it? Yeah. Like, you can get hot. Like, if you get hot and the other team is not, and you hitting more threes than them, yes, you will beat them. I'm like, but on a year-over-year basis, I'm going to roll the dice and say that ain't gonna work every time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, most years you're gonna find yourself home early because that's just not a good strategy. That's why I'm like, no, I feel like the Pistons can beat that, because just like you can, yes, if 3-pointers are falling, it can make the other team look very bad, but also there are going to be windows in every game to get back in it. because those 3-pointers, they're gonna miss 3, 4 in a row. They're gonna give you 4 or 5 possessions to get back in the game. And we gonna be in every game, and we gonna have a chance to do what we do in every game, and that's play pressure defense, stop them for long stretches of the game, and put the ball in the basket. I'm like, I feel confident in the way we play over the way that they play. And Joe Mazzulla is a gambler. Joe Mazzulla is the guy that hit the 30-leg parlay one time, and now all he do is 30-leg parlays. He see a 5-leg parlay as not being valuable. That's who he is. I'm like, and I think that the Celtics have a conundrum. It's going to be hard to convince him that way doesn't work. Like, you almost gonna have to, you either gonna have to live with it or let him go. I don't think that you're gonna be able to get him in a room and change his philosophy. I think that the odds are against that, but we shall see.
Do you think it's a Mazzulla philosophy, or do you think it's a Brad Stevens philosophy?
I think it's Mazzulla, because they didn't shoot that many threes under Ime, and Brad Stevens was the GM then too. This is definitely a Mazzulla thing. Mazzulla is the 30,000 a hand at Baccarat guy. That's his thing. He like, look, I'm losing 20,000 if we shoot too many twos. We got to shoot them. So yeah, I do. I think I think Stevens supports the analytics stuff, but I think that the strategy belongs to Joe Mazzulla. So, maybe you could change the personnel, and that would help, because so I heard this, I'll float this by you, man, since nephew, because I that's a good question. It's a little thought provoking. Because there is a scenario where you could trade Jaylen Brown 1-for-1 for Giannis, because they basically make the same amount of money. Now, that would automatically, because Giannis is not a 3-point shooter. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that automatically is going to bolster your paint scoring. So maybe just changing player types would lessen the 3-point shooting, because he's going to be more in the paint.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe you just need more players, because I mean, like, Sam Hauser is not going to start attacking the closeout. You got Sam Hauser out there. Sam Hauser shooting threes. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you might just need to change player types more than you need to change philosophy, because certain guys are going to play a certain way. So I think a lot of it is in the way that the team is built too. But
so you think the move to make is between one of the big two and not somebody else on the roster?
I'm spitballing. I listen, I'm not a Boston Celtics fan. I don't sit around thinking about strategies for Boston Celtics.
I'm not asking you like I'm just, from what you see.
I heard that scenario floated. Now, if to be honest, I haven't given it that much thought. I just heard the scenario floated that, the money matches with Jaylen Brown and Giannis, and it could make sense from a financial standpoint, whether or not the Celtics would even be interested in that, whether or not that makes sense for Milwaukee, whether or not Milwaukee, because I'm of the opinion that Milwaukee wants draft capital anyway. I don't necessarily know that they just want a player for a player. So I think that they're looking to rebuild, and they want a package for Giannis more so than just a player for a player. But, and then trading Giannis to a good team like that, I don't necessarily know that gets them what they want. So, I'm spitballing. But, so like if you give it some real thought, I don't know that necessarily works out for either organization the way that they want it to. But no, I mean, I think the more likely scenario is that they package some of the other guys, because I think that they said next year Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum make up about 70% of the salary cap because of how large their salaries are. So, yeah, I mean, it could get hairy. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like, they don't have a lot of flexibility. So I think that being the scenario, it could be, making a decision about one of the big guns as opposed to, some of the smaller pieces, because they tying up so much of your salary cap. So you might need to try to get multiple pieces.
That's true.
But I digress. I didn't want to make it an entire conversation about the Celtics, but
Top hopping in the chat, he said Golden State is done and Boston blowing a 3-1 lead to a 7 seed. Maybe the beginning of the end to the 3-point.
Yeah, well, you know what? That's a good. You know what? That's a good point, Ty. 10 of the top 11 3-point shooting teams, in terms of attempts per game, are out of the playoffs.
And there you go.
So that's I had that little fun fact written down.
Shout out Ty.
Shout out Ty. Yep. That listen, I've been on that. I'm like, listen, all of this 3-point shooting, it's not a winning formula. It really is not. I'm
no,
like,
man. I was having a conversation, I think Saturday with it was the homie Rulon and TC. And we were having the same exact combination. Like, it's not a process and a formula that can successfully be duplicated. It's like the Captain America super soldier serum. It's like, once the one dose was in and the creator was killed, that's it, bro. Like, that's that's all you get is one dosage, and that was it. And you had all of these other teams for years trying to duplicate it, to emulate it, and then duplicate the success that it generated. And it just hasn't happened. Like you said, Boston got one out of it. Yeah. And that's it.
Yep. And I think the Pistons opponents have shot 430 during the regular season. They shot 430 more 3-point attempts than they did, and we won 60 games. It was unimpactful,
right?
Because again, I mean, like, if you have great 3-point shooters, so few teams have great 3-point shooters, though. Like, and I understand that the Golden State era and the Golden State scenario, right, is why people do this. They had otherworldly.
Like, you didn't have like 11 dribble 60-point niggas on your team.
The fact that the likelihood that you replicate that personnel is slim to none.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, you is likely you're never going to be able to do that. So, but again, I digress, man. Not to make that, we don't want to be too heavy on that.